welcome back. Our next session, we're going to do our next module is about social media marketing. So this is how to create that engaging content on your social media. So social media has changed the way that marketing works. It's not just the role of big businesses with big budgets. Anyone can do it. There is so much opportunity and there are no barriers to entry for social media marketing. So if you've got a business or a company and you want to promote it, social media is an amazing way to do that. Obviously, you can do it through free stuff, but you can also do it through paid. So we're going to have a little look into that during this session. So just to highlight what I've just said, I've got a video that I want to show you. And this is Sebastian, and this is just going to show how he promoted his business online just using social media.
La gente tiende a mirarlo a uno como un bicho raro cuando uno quiere montar una empresa con 19 años. A mí toda la vida me han encantado los negocios. He vendido dulces, he vendido canicas, he vendido chocolates. Colombia es el país que mayor exportación de flores tiene a nivel mundial. Y es un mercado muy competido porque uno encuentra floristerías en cualquier parte. Entonces uno tiene que traer una idea nueva a la mesa y ahí fue cuando nació la idea. Yo me levantaba ya a las 4 de la mañana. Yo hacía absolutamente todo en la empresa. Yo era el repartidor, yo era el CEO. Trabajaba derecho todo el día. Todas las personas se rieron de mí. O sea, uno no tiene ni plata, uno no tiene experiencia, uno no tiene contactos. Mis papás no me quisieron prestar $1.000.000 que yo necesitaba para empezarlo. Trabajé un mes en un call center y con eso empecé mi negocio. Tenía que invertir en algo que yo sabía que me iba a dar a conocer y por eso los invertimos en Facebook. Me acuerdo que como la segunda semana fue que empezamos a promocionar los posts y eso fue como un boom. Hace 18 meses cuando empecé yo era el único empleado que tenía en la empresa. Hoy en día estamos en 2 ciudades, Bogotá y Medellín. Hemos creado más de 10 empleos directos solo en la floristería. Yo no necesito tener una tienda física. Nosotros manejamos absolutamente todo desde una bodega porque nuestra vitrina comercial es Facebook. En ningún momento nos esperamos que fuera a crecer tan rápido. Estoy muy agradecido con mis papás. Me quisieron prestar $1.000.000, pero esa fue la mejor motiva. Hoy en día ellos son mi junta directiva. Eso es un orgullo. No tanto por mí, sino por lo que representa poder emprender siendo joven en un país como Colombia.
Yeah, so that just goes to show how Sebastian used social media and Facebook to promote his business, and anyone can do it. So what is social media? So it's websites, apps, where users can communicate with each other and share content. And these are all of the obvious ones that a lot of us will know of. So there's the LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. WhatsApp is also a social media platform, and it's something that businesses are starting to use a lot more. So instead of actually doing newsletters where they send it out via email, they'll do WhatsApp broadcasts, which is a bit like a WhatsApp group, but you can't see everyone else in the group. And they'll send you out different newsletters, maybe weekly, monthly. So it's thinking about how you can use this social media differently to your advantage. So in this session, we're going to explore the 4 key pillars of social media marketing. So that's purpose and audience, strategy and management, content creation and curation, and analytics. So first, we're going to have a little look at purpose and audience. So before you do anything, you need to know, A, what the purpose of your company is, and B, who your audience is. The better you know that, the better you understand that, the easier it will be to get your message out there to the right people, because you'll know what to say and you'll know who to say it to. So, how does your purpose equal value for your audience? So we're just going to have a little 2 examples here of purpose and audience, and they are random examples. So the first one is camping site. So what do you think the purpose of this camping site is? It's not deep, by the way, it's not like philosophical. What do you think the purpose of a camping site is? Yeah, providing space for someone's camp. And who do you think the audience is? Yeah? Any gender, any age? No, anyone think of when you think of camping type people, what people come to mind? Pardon? Families, yeah. And festivals, yeah. So we've got two different audiences there, families and festivals, or you can merge them together. But safe space for people to camp, and let's go for families. So you know what the purpose is, and you know who your audience is. So you can be clear on what you are trying to convey on your social media platforms. What about the second one? Fitness blog. So what do you think the audience is? Oh, sorry, what do you think the purpose is?
Advice.
Yeah, advice. Help people get fit, motivate them. And who do you think the audience is? The fitness one can be broad, and you can't. So you can have more than one audience, and if you know that, then that's great. But it's how do you target each audience separately? So if you've got more than one audience, that's fine. But if you can identify who your audiences are within that bracket, and you need to message them differently with different messages and different content. So you will do different campaigns to different audiences. Does that make sense? An example would be a clothing brand who do both men and women. You've got a male audience there and a female audience there. They still use the same platform to promote. So like, say, for example, Zara would still use the same platform, but they would promote it differently. So obviously, the images of women and things like that, and images of men, but it would be very different. To be honest with you, actually, Boohoo have a sub-brand called Boohoo Man. So they are actually different companies under the one umbrella. So that is a little bit different. But predominantly, if you've got different audiences, you would you choose the same platform, but just have different campaigns. A really good tool to identify who your audience is Facebook Audience Insight. So the reason we're highlighting this is because you might know your audience, and that is great. And this tool will either reaffirm what you already know, or it will show you something that you might not know. So basically, what you do here, this is completely free, this tool. You will need a Facebook account to have a little look at it. The data that you get from Facebook Audience Insight is not just from Facebook. It's from Instagram, and it's from websites that you've visited through Facebook and Instagram. So it's a whole host of data that they've collected. And what you do is down the left-hand side here, you will change your demographic to who you're trying to target. So you'll put in where they're from, the area that you're trying to target. It can be regional, national, it could be worldwide. You change the age to who you're trying to target. You change the gender for who you're trying to target. And then where it says interest, you can put the interest of, say, for example, we'll use the camping. We can put camping there as an interest. And then this bit here, all of this will start to change. And it will show you where your audience is most likely to be. So this is great to use because we've done a couple of testing a couple of sessions ago, and there was a lad who was a gamer, and he really wanted to make an app all for young lads, to make a game on an app on a phone for young lads. And he thought, he's got an idea, he's got it in the bag, he knows his audience, and he was ready to go. We've done this Facebook Audience Insight with him. We put the age range from 18 to 30, put the gender as male, put the interest in gaming, and it was looking quite low. We thought, surprised. So we opened the age range and we opened the gender, and what we found is there was a peak, and the highest audience was women over the age of 50. So it's women over the age of 50 that actually use the phones and apps to play games. Lads are usually in the house on an actual console. So he took the insight, he was convinced he knew his audience, he'd done a bit of research, and he took that insight, and now he's went away and he started developing something for 50-year-old women now, rather than younger lads that he had originally thought. So this tool is great for reaffirming what you know or finding out different things. It tells you loads of stuff. So as you see next to the demographic, it'll tell you what kind of pages the people are liking. It'll tell you the location where they are. So if you put the UK, it'll tell you the most popular cities, where they'll be. It'll tell you the activity, so it'll tell you how many likes they do in the last 30 days, how many times they comment, how many times they share, how many times they click on links to see if that audience is interactive online. It'll tell you about the relationship status, education level, everything. So it really does go into depth about these people. It's scary, but you can take the information from this to target specific people. So say, for example, we'll use the gaming one. If I realised that it was 50-year-old women that wanted to play this game and I wanted to market to them, I'm probably going to find them on Facebook. A lot of them seem to be in, it doesn't tell you here, but a lot of them seems to be in admin or sales jobs, so you can use it on the phones. A lot of them will also use an iPhones as predominantly, so maybe adapting the content so it fits as phone screen rather than fitting a desktop, because it seems to be on the phone and things like that. So you take the data that you know and you use that to influence the social media marketing that you're going to do. So we're going to have a little look at strategy and management. So the close shot to the strategy is all your planning and the overall management of everything. So things in your strategy will have the text that's going out, the images that are going out, the time, the date, how much interaction you're expecting from it, what you're expecting in return, all of the planning. The social media campaign is the actual visual when it goes live, how it looks and things like that. So the strategy is the planning and the campaign is when it goes live and how it looks. So in a social media strategy, you tend to see something like this, a timetable, and in the timetable, in each day of your campaign, you will have information of what text you're putting in there, what image or video you're putting in there, what time and date it's going out, how many people you're expecting to get to interact with it, whether that's reaches, whether that's interactions or likes, how many people you're expecting to share it, things like that. Usually with big marketing agencies, you need all of this data to send back to your clients, and this is what they'll expect from you. So if you work for in marketing, they'll expect to find out what your forecasts are, and then they'll expect data to find out the analytics of how it actually performed. So these are just all of the sort of statistics that you'll be expected to put in there, and also what you'll expect to put in there after the campaign to see how it performed versus your predictions of how it was going to perform. And then the social media campaign, once it's gone live, looks a little bit like this. So this is an example of a breast cancer awareness campaign by Facebook called Know Your Lemons. And this is it. This is all the visual, creative, the fun part of it, I like to think. The plan and the strategy can be a little bit tedious. So that's the strategy and the campaign. And these are both important when you're planning something. Usually with the campaign, you'll have the next 4 to 6 weeks planned out, so you know exactly what is going out in your social media. The engagement rate.
How do you measure that?
So is this how you're predicting to measure it or how you measure it once you've done it?
Well, how did you get 40%?
Bit about. So what you would do, so if you're doing a prediction, you're usually looking at stuff that you've already done and seeing how that performed. So you would usually make a campaign, a social media campaign or something based on information that you know. So if you've done a social media campaign and you know things that have worked well, things that haven't worked well, how much people engage with your content, how many followers you have and things like that, then you'll make a prediction of how you think you're going to perform. Then once it's gone live, you can look at the data from the social media campaign, the ads, the analytics, to see how it's performed. So it'll tell you things like how many people you've reached. And when we say reached, that means people have seen your ads. They might not have stopped and looked at it or to pay attention, but it's popped up on someone's screen. It'll tell you how many impressions. So an impression is when someone has stopped and looked at it and have actually spent a couple of seconds looking at the post. It'll tell you the engagement, so how many people have engaged with it, whether it's liking, whether it's commenting, whether it's sharing. And then it'll tell you the more specifics, like how many likes, how many shares and stuff like that.
Engagement rate is how many likes divided by how many people visited.
Yeah, so it's divided by the impressions. We wouldn't look at the reach because even though you might have reached on a social media campaign 1,000 people, that doesn't mean they've acknowledged the actual campaign. It just means that it's appeared on their screen. Does that make sense? So we'll have a look at planning social media strategy and campaign. So When we were talking before about the sales funnel, we were talking about the user experience. So we were looking at the bottom two, the decision and the action. So once someone is interested in what you're selling, they'll usually make a decision to go to the website and they'll make an action, whether to purchase something or buy something, or to sign up for something. But when we're looking at social media marketing, we're looking at the top two. So if you're going to do promotion or adverts on social media, more than likely the people that you're going to reach don't know who your brand are if you are a new business. Obviously, if you're like the Nikes and Adidas, they will. But if you're a new business, more than likely they won't know. So you need to make sure that you're getting an awareness out there of your brand, and then you're gaining an interest. So when you're promoting things or doing an advert, what we like to say is that don't allow someone to engage or see your post more than 2 or 3 times. And that might sound stupid, but if someone sees your post and you're advertising something more than 2 or 3 times and they haven't clicked on it by the 2nd or 3rd time, they're not going to click on that. And you're just basically spamming it, so that'll have a negative effect on them, because the impression of you will be bad because they'll just see you spamming them all the time. So what we would suggest is making sure that someone sees your post no more than 2, maybe 3 times. Okay, and then that will raise an awareness. After the 2nd or 3rd time they like it, you might click on it and that will raise an interest, and then they'll make a decision from there. So we're going to have a little look at how to create content that will raise an awareness and make people excited and make them interested in whatever you're doing. And the way we look at this is we use this formula called EAST. So it's making our content easy, attractive, social and timely. So first one is this. So when you have a little look at this, what's this trying to do? What's this trying to sell? Pizza. It's so easy. If you scroll past this, you wouldn't even have to, like I've just said before about reaching, you wouldn't even have to stop and spend a second on looking at this to know what it's trying to sell you. So your social media content needs to be easy for people to digest, no pun intended, because research is showing that we spend no more than 0.2 seconds on a certain piece of content when we're scrolling through our phones, because we're constantly scrolling. So we need to make sure that when someone is scrolling, that user is scrolling through, even if they just glance at whatever is the piece of content you're putting out, they will have an idea of what you're trying to sell or what you're trying to promote. So I'll give you an example. Agent Academy, the company I work for, we're all about doing digital skills for young people. So if you went through our social media, you'll see a lot of pictures of me stood up doing workshops like this. You'll see me working with young people. You'll see me on pictures with young people. And even if you didn't know what we did or who we worked with, you would get an impression just by scrolling past that image. So it needs to be easy. Also, it needs to be easy to take you to where your call to action is. So as you can see at the bottom, it says order now. You know exactly what you need to do to get to that value. So it needs to be easy to get to the value and needs to look easy to understand as well. So the next one is attractive. So it needs to look and sound good. So as you can see, 2 pictures here. Everything now is visual. I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago, if you would have went on Twitter, everything was tweets and just words. You can't go on Twitter now without seeing tweets accompanied by videos or imagery. Because everyone is visually led, well, not everyone, but predominantly people are visually led, and it's easy to understand and it looks attractive. So not only do we look at the imagery, but we look at the words. So we have emojis, words like on the right it says, the memories that last a lifetime. That sounds and looks attractive. So you need to make sure that if you're putting something out, don't make it too text-led. Make it visual so it's nice for people to look at. And it also leads back to the easy thing. It's easy for them to understand. The next one is social. So I know it's social media. And so we think, oh, it's going to be social, it's given. But sometimes brands aren't great at being social online. So 2 brands that are really good are Greggs and Innocent Smoothies. So did anyone see when the vegan sausage roll came out and Twitter absolutely blew up because of this vegan sausage roll, and it was trending for like days on end? And Greggs was so good at replying to loads of people that were tweeting. They were quote tweeting them, we were retweeting stuff. And it brings people into the conversation and it makes them feel like they're in some way part of that brand. So you need to make sure that you're social. So if people are commenting on things or tagging you in things, make sure that you are social with them. One company that really failed at this was, did anyone watch Game of Thrones? And they had the Starbucks coffee cup. It wasn't Starbucks, but everyone just assumed it was Starbucks coffee cup. Game of Thrones is massive. Everyone was tweeting about that. Starbucks put one tweet out about the whole thing. One tweet, and it was some awful tweet like, Daenerys loves the dragon fruit drink or something like that, and that was it. And everyone was tweeting, and they could have took that and ran with it, but they didn't, and they lost out on a massive opportunity there. Another company is Innocent Drinks. They do this really well because they use what's called user-generated content. So they will get their users or their customers to get these little hats, take pictures and tweet them and tag them, and they will just repost that. And that's a way of their being social and, again, bringing the customer and the user to feel like part of that brand. Other ways to be social are things like competitions, getting people to share stuff, polls on Instagram or Twitter, or questions on Instagram stories, things like that. Making sure you're trying to get the customer engaged and involved in what you're doing. And then the last one is timely. So when we talk about timely, we talk about two things. The first one is the day and the time that you're posting, and that is really important. So if I was, say for example, a nightclub, and I was promoting a night out on a Saturday in a club, I would not be promoting that on a Monday morning when everyone's going back to work, because it's not the time to promote that. I'd be thinking about, okay, when are people going out? When are people most likely to look at my social media? It would be near the end of the week when people are in the mood. So you would make sure that you are promoting it at the right time for your audience. Another example, if I was promoting a new job, I'm probably not going to put it on a Saturday or Sunday night because people are out and about busy. I'd probably put it on a Monday morning when people are going back to work and they're looking for new jobs because they've got the Monday blues. So you need to make sure that you're promoting stuff at the right time for your audience. And you will know when that is because you'll get the data from your ads or from your website to know when your audience are looking at your social media or your website. Another thing about timely is, as you can see down the right-hand side, there's all these hashtags. Timely, so you're current with what's going on the day. So is it a hashtag? Is it like National Sibling Day, National Dog Day? Is it a world event? Is it like Christmas or Easter or something like that? Or is it a day like International Women's Day? And what companies do, and what is a great way to get your company known, is by piggybacking on these days and creating content that are relevant to your company and that day. An example of this was, it was National Dog Day, I think it was last month, and Trainline asked users to send in pictures of their dogs on trains. So people were sending them stuff. It was timely because it was National Dog Day, and they found a way that a train company you would never associate with dogs, but they found a way to piggyback onto National Dog Day. So make sure you are, and also it was social because they were getting people to send images in and they were just sharing them, and it brought the customer into that conversation to make them feel part of the brand. So when I talk about you know, and your audience and then when to post things like this sort of follows on from your question before, like what platform is for what audience. So Facebook is best for acquiring new customers via paid advertising. I would say Facebook was more for the mid to late 30s plus Facebook if you are going to try and target them. Instagram is for a younger demographic. Now, Instagram's a funny one because even though Facebook has got like billions more users than Instagram, and Instagram hasn't got nowhere many users, Instagram has the highest engagement rate from their users. So it's something like 90% of their users are engaged, whereas like Facebook, it's only like 50% of the users are engaged. So it's funny, even though they've got massive numbers, Facebook, Instagram is the most engaged platform that there is if you wanted to get to your users. And again, that's a younger demographic. I'd say it's meant to be, I think it's a 14 Instagram, but my little cousin, she's like 11, she's got it. So you can go from like really young up until, I would say, early 30s. Obviously, there are people more than that, but the main demographic are that age range. Twitter is where you engage with press, industry, influencers, and give customer support. This is a really broad one, so you have people from all ages on Twitter because it's seen as a more, I'd say, more professional platform. People go on there to complain to train line for the train being late. They go on there to tweet about something that they've done at work today, things like that. LinkedIn is where you engage with existing employees and attract new talent and industry professionals. YouTube is where you support existing customers with education and video help content. And Snapchat is where you distribute content with the goal of building brand awareness with younger consumers. And Snapchat is huge. We do a lot of work in schools and go out to schools, and we do a lot of engagement to find out how we best engage with these young people. And we do a lot of work with clients and take clients into school to find out how. And one thing that consistently comes up with young people is Snapchat, Snapchat, Snapchat. They use it as a form of texting and messaging. Like they use Snapchat constantly. So if you are a brand or a company that has a sort of younger audience, do definitely look at thinking about Snapchat. So we're going to have a quick look at content creation and curation. So if you do have a business or you work for someone, it can be difficult to get out and create content all the time. So what we like to say is mix it up. Go out and create content when you can, because it's good to have your own original content. But there's no harm in curating content. So an example is like when people do Instagram pages like this, all of these pictures haven't been taken by the person. They've got these pictures off other websites or stock image websites, and they're curating them. So if you do struggle to go out and create content all the time, go on free stock image website and get some content off there, because it means that your social media campaign is going out more consistently and you're not using the same images all the time because you can't get out and use pictures. And also it means that you're putting stuff out there because you're getting this free flow of information from stock image websites. There's loads of free stock image websites, honestly. Not only do they do pictures, they'll give you videos as well. So if you are struggling for content, get on there and get all of that stuff from there. So we're going to have a quick look at analytics. So I'm going to have to go back into my corner. It's another video. But if you guys, say for example, you've done your social media campaign, it's gone live, the campaign, people have interacted with it. Now we're going to have a little look at the data behind that campaign and have a little look at what to spot and how you can improve your campaign using the data behind the analytics.
Hey everyone, my name is Anthony Adloy and I'm the Growth Marketing Manager here at Freeformers. Now, all of the ads that you would have seen to get here to this event today all came from myself. Now, one of the great things I love about Facebook ads is the fact that there is a zero barrier to entry. Anybody in the room right now that's watching this video can get started with Facebook ads. And in this video, I'm going to give you the baseline understanding of what you need to look out for when you're inside the Facebook Manager dashboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take myself over to the right-hand side of the screen. So frequency to start with. Frequency is essentially Facebook's way of telling you how many times your ad is being served to people that you've reached. So you can see here that we've reached 7,224 people within this campaign, and that out of those people, we've served this ad about 1.05 times to each individual. Now, a great number to shoot for if you're running your very first Facebook ad campaign is between 1 and 2.5, maybe 3 at the absolute max, depending on what campaign you're running. You don't want to go anything over that because fundamentally, you don't want to be spamming people's timeline. And if you have a really small audience that you're targeting and you're delivering an ad that isn't converting, Facebook is just going to skyrocket the cost of your campaign. So try and keep your frequency as low as possible. Now, when you're running your very first Facebook ad campaign, your cost per click is really going to vary. If you're getting anywhere between like 10, 20, 30, 40 to 50 pence a click, that's a really good number to shoot for. If you're sending people to a blog post or a website, those are the kind of numbers that you need to be looking for. If you have a high ticket product where it's a bit more expensive, or that you have a smaller audience that are more defined, then your cost per click might be a bit higher. So as you can see here on this campaign, we're spending about 22 pence a link click, which is really great for our numbers that we're looking for. We're trying to get people to a website, so we're happy to spend 22 pence per click. Make sure you're testing lots of different variations of your creative, your ad copy and the image or video that you're using to try and get that cost per click down as low as possible. Now, finally, what I'm going to cover here is click-through rate. As you can see here, essentially is out of the 1,000 impressions that we send, what percentage of people are clicking through to our ad? For every 1,000 people that go through, 2.39% of them are clicking through our ad. So a good number to shoot for click-through rate is anything from 0.5% to 3-4% is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to sign out here and pass you guys back over to the coaches.
So yeah, so that just shows you the analytics and data behind Facebook ads. You can get the same data from Instagram if you do ads on Instagram. If you are looking to do any sort of advertising on Instagram, to do that you do need to link it up with a Facebook account to make it a business Instagram. Also, you can get it on Twitter. I personally wouldn't go mad promoting or doing ads on Twitter because you can't be as specific as you can with Instagram and Facebook, and it will sort of get lost on Twitter. But Facebook and Instagram are really good, and the data that you get from the ads is amazing. So you can have a little look at what's working and what's not working. A really good tip as well for Facebook advertising is you can do something called A/B testing, where 50% of your users will see your ad one way and 50% of your users will see your ad a different way, and then it will give you data to tell you which way performs better, and then moving forward you can decide to choose whichever way performs better to do your advertising. So in this session, you've learned the 4 key pillars to marketing success. So number 1, purpose and audience. You really need to understand your audience and what your purpose is. The better you know that, the easier it will for you to get your message to the right people. Secondary, strategy and management. It says there, choose one management tool. I need to change that because I don't agree with that, because some tools you have to pay for, and if you are a small SME, it's probably better going for the free tools. So things like TweetDeck is free, and you can plan your social media on there. Facebook has its own management tool. Instagram, you can only really do it through Buffer and Hootsuite, but they are also paid as well. So have a little look and find what works for you. The paid one doesn't work for everyone, and that's fine. The third one, content creation and curation. Mix it up, remember, use what is out there. Go on those free stock image websites to get all the images so you make sure that your content is going out consistently. And also analytics, experiment, test and learn from the data that it's given you, and make sure you make informed decisions based on that data. So these are some tools that we would recommend taking a picture of this screen and have a little look at them. So we've got some defining purpose audience tools, some content creation tools, some management tools, and some growth tools. And for anyone who wants to learn more about Facebook advertising and things like that, Facebook has this hidden gem of a platform called Blueprint, and it's free. 15, 20-minute modules that you can go on. They're interactive, they are quite fun, and learn about targeting, audiences, social media marketing, things like that. So I would really recommend, if you do want to find out a little bit more, this is a great tool. It's free. It's called Facebook Blueprint. Have a little look at that. So I'm 1 minute over, but that is the end of our 2 modules today. So thank you very much for joining me and being part of it.